We've all probably failed a New Year's resolution before, and most of us don't even set them. I don't know about you guys, but I stopped setting New Year's resolutions a long time ago. That would also be why I never accomplished them, because I don't have any. When you come into therapy, it is important that you have goals. If you don't have goals, you're not going to see the results you want. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to talk more about having goals in therapy. Any stories shared in this podcast have had names and details changed for the confidentiality of clients. Any resemblance to someone real is coincidental. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode. In today's episode, we are going to talk about more reasons that therapy isn't working for you. Today, we are talking about goals, specifically not having goals, and why that's a problem. I know before we've talked about tracking your symptoms, which I think is closely related to this. But with a therapist, they should have like a treatment plan with treatment goals and things. But I know I'm guilty of this, and sometimes I'm like, put the treatment goals, and then we end up talking about something totally different because there's a new crisis of the week. But why does it matter? Why does having goals in therapy matter? Why can't I just show up and talk about my crappy week I had?
I mean, you can show up and talk about the crappy week you've had, but if you do that every week, you're going to be in therapy for a really, really long time because you don't even know where you're trying to get to. In the first couple of sessions that you sit down with a therapist, part of what they are required to do is to come up with a treatment plan, right? A treatment plan means that you have different goals and objectives that you're trying to get to. I don't think that probably most people come into therapy knowing that. I think that lots of people think like, oh, well, I don't feel great emotionally and I need to go talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody says I should go talk to somebody.
Sure.
But the reality is your therapist is going to be trying to figure out goals with you in the first session or two. And if you don't have any idea about what you want to see happen, it's going to make your therapy take way longer. And you're going to get derailed with like, oh, this is the thing that happened this week. And like I said, you can do that, but are you really going to make progress in therapy? Maybe a week at a time, but it's going to be, it's going to be super subjective, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that you're going to make it to any specific place. So that's why it's important to have a goal. If you have a goal, a very clear goal in your mind of what you know you want to have happen, then you can work toward that goal and you'll know when you get there.
Yeah. I think I was joking about it, but only partially. I think I think it's okay to come to therapy and talk about your crappy week you had. In therapy, I think it's important to balance that with making sure we're still working towards the big picture goals that you have so that you feel better and don't have as many crappy weeks you need to talk about. And I think it's hard sometimes to identify goals in therapy because it's not like getting a certain grade or making a certain amount of money, right? They're not always so concrete. But I do think if you were able to figure out what your goals are and find a way to assign some kind of numbers to them or a way to track them, you're going to see some success and you're going to see real improvement. Like I always think of one goal that I do a lot with people is about how many nights a week they lay in bed and can't fall asleep because they're so anxious and their mind's just racing. So if we make a goal that involves various types of therapy, but really the way we're going to track it is how many nights in a week do you, let's say 5 nights a week, you lay in bed and you can't sleep because your mind's just racing. And we get that down to 1 or 2 nights a week. That's like a trackable, tangible win that you just had and shows that I am managing my anxiety better. I am handling these problems better.
Right.
But are you really paying attention to how many nights a week you're not sleeping very well if you don't have the goal attached to it? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does.
You might get better and not even realize it if you're not paying attention to your goals.
Right. And on the other hand, if you're always just coming in and talking about whatever crisis happened in the last week, I don't know how your sleep is just going to magically get better. That may be a byproduct of working on things, and over time you might get there. But it's like I always say to people, look, I just want to get you from point A to point B, and we want to do that the fastest, most efficient way possible. And you can get from point A to point B and not be fast or efficient.
Sure.
Right?
We can get there though. The long way or the short way.
Right. And, you know, I've heard people say before, like, therapists just want to get you in therapy because they want you to be their client
And
forever.
keep you there forever.
Right? They just want to keep you there forever because they don't have enough people to see. Um, I don't know if that's true for other therapists, but here, I don't know that we ever say that that's the real
No.
issue. Right?
There are clients I sure enjoy their company. Even them, I'm like, how do we get you the heck out of here?
Right, because that's what we want to do, right?
Yeah.
We want the treatment to be effective. So we have to know both what point A, like where you're starting at, and point B, where you want to go, actually are.
Yeah. I don't think any therapist, whether they are keeping you around for the money or not, like, there's only so much I know. And eventually I will have taught you everything I possibly could.
Right.
And the hope is by then you are done and you have the skills you need. So I don't want to keep you forever just for my own anxiety of, like, getting to the point where I'm like, okay, what am I going to say to you?
Right. Well, and I think about, you know, setting a treatment goal. Nobody just walking into therapy is going to know how to do this. So if you're going to set a treatment goal, maybe here's a little bit of advice I would give you. You know, start thinking about what the problem in your life looks like. So if it's anxiety, if I was going to say, what does anxiety in my life look like? I'm having a hard time sleeping. I notice this like jittery feeling all the time. It stops me from going out with people. Right there, I've got a couple of very specific symptoms. And so when I went into therapy, I would say, hey, here's what I'm noticing. I think I have anxiety. There's all of these anxious symptoms, but the things that are bothering me the most are that I can't sleep at night, and that I keep like not going out with people, or I go out with people and I feel so anxious the whole time that it's not enjoyable. And I don't want it to be like that. So I want to be able to sleep, and I want to be able to go out and have a good time.
Yeah,
Right.
I think saying how do you track anxiety and track depression is an impossible task, but you can track the way it affects you, and you can track the real tangible ways that it's like impacting your life, and that's where you want to look for setting these goals.
Right. You know, and if people need a little more discussion about this, we have a therapy jumpstart kit that has some videos and workbook pages that could help you figure out a little bit more about how to set some very specific goals. But no matter what, if you've been in therapy for a while, or if you're just about to start therapy, or even if you're ready to start a self-help journey, have a specific goal.
Yeah.
Know what you're trying to get to.
I think it really would save you a lot of time, like you said, in therapy, or even if you're doing this all on your own. Because I spend so much time with people when they come in, and we talk about how they're anxious and how they're depressed. And we spend a lot of time talking about how does this affect you? How does this affect your relationships? How does this affect your daily habits? All of those kind of things. And if you could come in and tell your therapist, this is what I'm experiencing and I don't like XYZ part of it, you would save yourself a lot of time and me a lot of time, and I'd be very pleased if you're my client.
Right. Point A to point B as fast and efficient as possible.
Yeah. And things will come up. I think it's natural as time goes on and you do like update treatment plans that people's goals change, and that's okay and that's normal. I think the hope is that you're like accomplishing goals and replacing them with new ones, because life happens and things change. But if you're never tracking anything, how are you even going to know if you got better?
Right. And how will you not just be in therapy forever?
Yeah, which is not your goal or ours,
Right.
despite what people think.
Right.
So thank you, everybody, for joining us for today's video. If you have any questions, we'd love to chat in the comments. We appreciate the comments we've been getting. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe for more, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.
If you enjoyed today's video, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. We've got other videos for you to check out and more exciting things coming soon, so thank you.